for tuning in to another episode of Conversations with Chan. I am actually, smiling once again because I'm inspired by someone and because it's like so awesome. So today we are speaking with Jules Clark. Now, when I tell you that her resume makes it makes me smile so much because you're a career coach, you're a musician, you're definitely, I was like, you are a model and you're a public speaker. And I'm like, okay, but when you told me that you started your business at 22, that's what made me like, yes. So I'm happy about that. So welcome, Jules. So tell me more about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. You're so smiley. It makes me smiling. I'm so happy now. I'm just speechless. You're so gracious. So a little bit about me. So I am now 24. I did start my business at 22. Actually, if you want to count my first years, I started my business as a small blog and it's grown into what it is today. It's actually been 3 years now. So I was 21 really when I started my business. So I got to get that fixed in my bio, but whatever. My business started as a small blog just to inspire people to be the best that they could be. And I don't like to say pivot, I like to say evolution, because really at every point where I sat back and I said, I've kind of learned as much as I can learn in this field. I've kind of learned as much as I can with where the business is right now or where this organization is, where it is right now. I want to evolve it. And so the blog turned into events, and those events became catered towards creatives. And so we were teaching creatives how to do contracts, do LLCs, and we had people on panels that were, speakers and motivational speakers and radio hosts and lawyers that did contracts for creatives. And so we had so many amazing people that were coming in and teaching these creatives. I hit another evolution point and I said, you know what would be even better than educating creatives? Getting creatives paid, because there's so many times, yeah, go for it.
That part.
Yeah, that part. Anyways, but getting creatives paid, because there's so many young creatives that aren't going to college because there's no degree for them. There's no degree of, hey, here's how to do a kaleidoscope effect in Premiere. Like, there is no degree for that. And so there's so many things that I wanted to give back to the creative community, because they have built me up so much throughout my journey after not even graduating college, but even while I was in college. And so my entire life has kind of been dedicated to giving back to the creative economy.
I'm loving it because it's like you're a giver. Like when you give from such a pure heart, that's where, doors open and, your path is a whole lot easier. And I just really wish people understand that, like, don't give with the expectations of always receiving. Like, just do what your heart leads you to do. And this is the greatest thing. So musician.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, music is having a soundtrack when you're working sometimes will make the time go by fast. So I need to know more about your music.
Yeah, for sure. So my paradigm is really weird. So I grew up in a family and in a community that everybody was musical. I actually thought that everybody had like singing or instrumental talent. Like because my mom was a Christian worship pastor. She toured around the US. My sister is now a Christian worship pastor out in Erie, Pennsylvania. My uncle was a producer. My other uncle used to like do Elvis Presley impersonations and was really good at them. And so like, my aunt is also out in Atlanta, Georgia. She's a music teacher. So like everybody in my like vicinity, the people that were in my school, like we were all like musical. And so I just thought at an early age, I was like, well, if everybody's good at music, I don't want to do music. And so I kind of grew up with this musical talent that I always had. And I just kind of kept for myself. I would write songs on guitar or I would sing. And I just loved writing music or like doing little covers and things like that. It wasn't until this year, actually in January, where I was like, look, it's always been on my bucket list. I'm going to do an album. I need to just do it.
Right.
That there are so many people out there that don't just do it. They keep it in their brain for forever because there's always some mental block. There's always some reason why you can't. And so I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea how to get music on Spotify or iTunes or anything, but I was dedicated to figuring it out. So January 1st comes, I bought like a MIDI, I bought the programs. Am I allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Yes, you can.
Okay, that shit was hard. I was like, I don't know how to do it. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so, but the point is I put in the effort, and this is how my life has always kind of worked. And, you know, I try not to, you know, pass my experiences off on to others, but I really do think this is how the world works, is that when you put in a little bit of effort and you go after your dreams and you chase after it, things kind of just fall into place if it's what you're divinely meant to do. And so literally from January 1st to January 30th, I hosted an event for South by Southwest and one of my clients. And this girl came out to me and she said, "Hey, I'm Carly. This is my girlfriend. I want you to meet my music manager." I go, "Sweet, I'd love to meet your music manager." So this guy comes up, and immediately I knew who this person was. Immediately. And I was like, "Dude, you're the guy that's been following me on Instagram and liking all my stuff for the past 2 years." And he was like, "Yes, ma'am, that's me." He's a very country man. His name is Solomon.
That's a very country name.
Yeah, it's like he's like country with a little bit of gangster. I don't really know how to explain it, but long story short, he's the only shorter man than me that I would ever trust to beat somebody up in a fight for me. That's it. So like,
I know a guy like that though.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm like, you're the only man, the only one. So long story short, he was managing, they had a production studio. He was like, "I'd love to work with you. I want to see your like music come to life. Like, let's do it." And so after I made that connection this year, I've put together 5 songs, part of my EP called Defining Moments. It's all about the moments that make us who we are in life, and whether they're good or they're bad, they turn us into who we are. And so I've released 2 songs already. My next one, Seasons, comes out on the 25th of this month, which it is the best one so far. Just like, I'm really starting to develop my sound and figure it out. And like the way I like to describe it is like, if Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald were alive today, this would be their music. Like, that would be it.
Oh,
A bit of like lo-fi hip hop.
I love that because, you know, I was about to say, I have to add albums. Okay. So this actually works for me. Like, I love a good, oh gosh, I love good music. I like my playlist is so different. Like, you'll find a mix of everything on it. And then somebody, you know, it'll go from Aerosmith to, you know, Green Day to the Cranberries. They go from everywhere, you know, and then there's some hip hop and there's some rap and there's everything, but you'll never know what you're gonna get with my playlist. And I love that. Well, I love Mr. Frank Sinatra, but so I was like, you've done so much. I'm like, where do I go next? So let's talk about you being a career coach.
Yeah, so that was something I never actually thought was like a real career or anything like that. And I honestly accidentally fell into it because I just had people that kept hitting me up and saying like, "Hey, do you do career coaching?" And I think it's just because I've lived my life with such boldness and I've lived my life with such tenacity and consistency, and people have seen the results, and especially because I'm so young, people are attracted to that. And so when it comes to career coaching, you know, I say I have 3 rules of life. 1 is to follow your curiosity. 2 is to do it. And then 3 is just to be who you are. And if you can do all 3 of those things in an authentic way, like, there's nothing that should be able to stop you.
That has been my biggest thing. I'm my authentic self at all times. And some people can't handle it because it's a little bit much. But
Lord knows it. They can't handle it.
I can't. But I don't feel comfortable, you know, smushing that down for, you know what I'm saying, because then I'm not being authentic. Then I'm not being myself. Then I'm uncomfortable. Yeah. And, you know, I should not have to be uncomfortable for somebody to be comfortable around me. That's not fair. Yeah. You know, so the being authentic, that seems to be the one thing that I've heard from everyone who has been successful. They have been themselves. They have not changed. They have not deviated from themselves. So that is, you just gave a little bit of your blueprint that this is how you accomplish all these things because you were you.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing is I think people get lost in authenticity sometimes they get confused well, this is what I like versus this is who you are. What right. You like is, you know, your aesthetic, like how you paint, how you create. Yeah, that's great. But who are you? Who is your culture? Where are your background from? What do you know, do on a daily basis that makes you you? And so many people are trying to copy other people's aesthetics, trying to say that that's authentic, when in reality, that's not authenticity. Being authentic is knowing your strengths, knowing who you are, and then acting out those every single day.
See, you're gonna make my cheeks hurt today. And I'm just in love with it because it's like, these are the things that people need to hear that will help them to understand. Just because that person's Instagram looks like it's popping, you know, you don't know what's behind those images that are glossy and pretty and all of this other stuff. And you try, because I've seen so many people take screenshots of people's Instagrams and try to mimic theirs to look like theirs because they think that's the way to go, and it's not. Did I freeze? I think I froze. Did I freeze? Hold on.
Hey, so I think my power just went out in my house. Like my Wi-Fi went down.
Because I was like, did I freeze?
No, yeah, I put you on my hotspot. Now I'm like curious. Is like my fan working? Yeah, my power went out. Okay, interesting. We'll figure that out later.
Hey, it's, you know, this works. I mean, we can make do, because I was like, maybe it's me being out in the country somewhere.
That was me. I'm like sitting here thinking, like, what could it possibly? I'm gonna ask my neighbor, did your power go out?
Yes, please double check. So the people that you represent now, right? Mm-hmm. In your portfolio, like I'm in awe, like, because I was looking between your bios, like, you know what, we're gonna touch on this, but you're the secret sauce to all the success.
Well, it's funny because I had a friend who started an agency under his name, and I learned from him that if you do that, then people are always going to expect the product that you produce. And so one thing I really try to do is, you know, I try to elevate the people in my creative community or my portfolio, because at the end of the day, if I die, I don't want my legacy to die. I don't want what I've built to die. And so for me, it's always about not putting myself and like making myself the secret sauce, but teaching and educating other people on how they can do the same things that I do. And like, no one's going to do it the way that I do it. Like when I die, it's going to be a sad day. Like I hope there's like thousands of people at my funeral, but like, I do think that everybody has their own secret sauce. I just think that I'm the type that's like charismatic and like outgoing, and people are like, ooh, ah. So yeah.
Yeah, because that's the misconception that I'm such an introvert. But you know, when it comes to something that I'm passionate about, you'll get that side of me, because I'm like, let me show you how to take your business where it needs to go, or you know, this is how you should leverage this publicity to that. So it's like, but you can tell you genuinely love what you do.
Well, and I do. And I think, you know, what makes it so successful, or what is making it successful, because every day is a challenge, no matter what business you're running, is the fact that I know where I fit in the equation. So I'm great at the business. I'm great at talking to people. I'm great at like earning people's trust in a 5-second conversation. And so, you know, a lot of creatives are introverts, or people that are like, I just want to create the thing. Yes. And so, you know, I kind of step in as a middleman and just say like, as you know, I'm kind of a career coach to my creatives, and I just like talk to them like as if I was talking to any of my friends or like any of my clients for career coaching. So when we sit on a call and the creative is on the call with me, at the end of the call, they're like, how do you do that? Like, da 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 da. And I'm like, you just got to know the right questions to ask. You got to be able to read people, and just some people are not good at that. And so that's kind of what I know is my secret sauce.
And I see, this is what I tell you, like, this conversation today was the motivation I needed to push to do some more that I wanted to do. Because it's like, there's no reason for me to not do it. There's no excuses now, because it's like, you have created a legacy for yourself that is unmatched. And it's like, wow.
Oh, you're supposed to be so funny, because like, you're honestly motivating me, because like, in my head, it's never enough, right? There's like this more myth, like you always need more. And today I was talking to my best friend, God, and I was like, God, I get it. You're saying I'm spoiled. I need to use what I got and just use the resources I have to make the things that I need to make. And so, because there's always, especially in the creative world, there's always a better camera, there's always better lighting. And so one of the things I'm really pushing myself to do right now is just to be content with what I have and make magic with that.
See, because like I talked to a financial coach today, and it reminded me I have stuff in the that haven't used, that haven't opened, that haven't done with. So yes, I am using what I have now to do it. So this is oh my gosh. If you're not inspired by listening to this episode or watching this episode, I don't know what can help you get to it. Because like you are phenomenal, and I love the fact that you're sharing so much of yourself, especially with music, because music it's you, like people have been long gone and their music still stays here. So you're leaving you're putting a part of yourself out there that will live forever, well, in our lifetime, and then after our lifetime and stuff, if the world is still here. But it's one of those things. I mean, just say, I don't know. We don't know what's going. It's 2020. We don't know what's going to happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I just feel like people don't understand it's 2020. You just don't know. Thursday could be the last day. We don't know. So live your best life.
Give me bad news now. I'm like, all right. I'm like, that's kind of the norm.
Like, I don't think, it's so funny because I start looking at bad news is not really bad news in 2020. It's just, but did you die? That my response is, but did you die? Like,
one of my old basketball coaches would always say to me, because I played basketball and I actually played in college for a little bit. I'm like 5'11" with some change.
Lucky.
But my basketball coach would always say, "Why are you crying? Do you live under a bridge?" And for some reason, that's just stuck with me.
Okay, that does make sense because we're not trolls. So okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I just like, I would, be young and like running these lines. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. And he would just be like, "Why are you crying? Like, you've got food, you've got a roof. Like, what's your excuse?" And I was like, okay, I get back on the line.
See, that's exactly what people need to hear. I'm gonna, why are you crying? Because there's no reason to cry now. All it is to do. Mm-hmm. And this is so. What parting words would you leave for someone who's questioning if they should start?
Everybody goes through it. Just know that if it's a divine inclination, if it's that thought that will not leave your mind, if it's been weeks and you still can't get the idea out of your head, just do it. Just anything that you can do. If you don't know how to start, just do one thing. Write it down. Just write it down. Even putting it on paper makes it come more alive. Ask somebody about, hey, I know that you've done this before. How would I do it? And just get it out there. Put it out into the world somehow, some way. Because if it's on your mind, if it's not letting you be alone, then it's meant to happen and you were meant to do it.
Thank you, because now I'm actually going to do what I was going to do. Because there's something on my mind that I've been dreaming of. It's been in my dreams for like weeks, and I have, even when I'm dreaming about something that has nothing to do with it, it'll pop up. I'm like, this doesn't even go together. Like, it doesn't. It's just like the dream. I was on a plane, and it's like, this doesn't even supposed to be. Okay, so now that this is a confirmation that I always listen to the different things, of the message that I'm given, because sometimes with conversation, God will speak to you and tell you exactly. And I'm learning to listen, because the last time I didn't listen, he kind of knocked me out of my chair. And I don't want him to do that again. So I'm going to listen.
It hurt. It hurt.
It hurt because I did not listen. He tapped me on the shoulder, then he nudged me, so then he knocked me halfway across the room. So that's why. Yes, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to do it because it won't leave. So I really want to thank you so much. Where can people find you and to follow your music and your work?
So I am Creator Jules on everything. Jules is spelled Jewels, just like a diamond, multiple diamonds. You can find me on Spotify. Instagram is my main platform. I post on all the platforms though. So catch up with me, ride with me on the journey.
Yes, and I will be tagging her music and her links so that you all can follow, because I'm going to follow, and I always make it a point to follow after I talk to people, because once I like my conversation to be genuine. So, and this was amazing, and you made me smile, and oh my gosh, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Your smile is radiant. I love it.
So you have a good rest of your day, and find out exactly what happened to your power.
Girl, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out. So here we go.
Okay. You have a good day and thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.